It's time for the Hockey Writers Grind Line, a weekly show covering everything Detroit Red Wings. Brought to you by our own iconic top line of Wings writers. Sit back and enjoy the grind.
Welcome to the Hockey Writers Grind Line, brought to you by the Morning Skate, the Hockey Writers morning newsletter that is jam-packed with all the best hockey stuff on the planet. Sign up today at morningskate.io for free delivery to your inbox Monday through Friday. Also, drop us a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay on top of all of the best Hockey Writers content. I'm your host, Kyle Knopp, and today I'm joined by my longtime line mates, Logan Horn and Matthew Zator, and we are here to wish you a happy American Thanksgiving weekend. So my two Canadian brethren are with me today. So happy as we record on this Thursday evening up in the Great White North. How are you today, Logan?
I'm doing well. I'm enjoying just an average, normal Thursday with nothing special going on.
That's excellent. And Matthew, how's your run-of-the-mill Thursday going today?
Yeah, it's a regular Thursday. Nothing special happened. No NHL games happening today. So
yeah, so odd.
Nothing happening.
Yeah, I know if you were, obviously this episode coming out on Saturday, we're a couple days behind, but we are filming on Thursday of this week. So that will kind of adjust to how we talk about things heading into this weekend show, because we obviously are not going to be able to discuss last night's Arizona game, but there might be a segment where we predict a few things. So hold on to your hats. All right. Well, let's jump right into it. And we're going to get right into the one good, one bad. And I'll kick things off for this Thanksgiving weekend. And my good and bad are going to be the goaltending. So Husso's been playing the last 3 games, has been playing really well, and has really solidified his spot as the number one, which we've talked about a few times. So that's my good. Whereas the bad is, are we getting close to seeing the Ned experiment being done in Detroit? And we will talk about that a little bit more, but I'm just going to leave that as is my good and bad for the past week. Matt, coming over to you, Matthew. What is your good and bad from the past week?
Well, my good is Philip Hronek. Hopefully I didn't take that from Logan, but he's been on a tear. I mean, this guy, he puts up points usually, but I mean, he's scored now, 3 games in a row? Had his first 2-goal game in the NHL. And he's been really good. And he's been matched up with Ole Mata, right, as his partner, and seems like they've found some great chemistry together. And it's been a great pairing, and shouldn't change it. I mean, Hronek's producing like crazy. He's probably I don't know if he'll have a career year, but he's over a point a game right now? I mean, something like that. 16 points in 19, so close. But 5 goals, 11 assists already. And so Hronek's my good for this week. He's on a tear right now. And my bad is there's no hockey on right now, so can't watch a hockey game. And
on this mundane Thursday, no hockey, huh?
Yeah,
that is a pretty large bad, I would say. Give us some more hockey. What's going on there? I do want to amend my, I said Husso's been playing the last 3 games. It's actually been the last 4 games that he's played. 3, he has wins in the last 3, and then the overtime loss. So apologies for that. Logan, over to you. One good and one bad from this past week.
So my good is that Detroit is still holding on to their playoff spot. However, improbably, they just keep crawling back into it. Like, they get bumped out on nights that they don't play, but then they play a game and they win. And all of a sudden they're third in the Atlantic. And like, they're not going away. They're kind of a pest right now, which is really fun to watch. A lot of people have been talking the last couple of days about the American Thanksgiving, like, I don't know, the threshold of the season where
the
roughly
part,
75% of the teams that are in the playoff in playoff position right now will make the playoffs if statistics hold with the past 15 years or so. However, that does also mean that 25% of the teams in the playoffs right now are going to miss.
Yeah.
Roughly. And that's 4 teams out of 16. But anyway, it's at least been fun. There's at least been competitive hockey, games that matter. So that's my good. My bad for this week is news that came out today, again on Thursday, the passing of Börje Salming, legendary Swedish defenseman, just like a trailblazer for European players in general and offensive defensemen. Just really led the way, made it a lot more common for European players to come over, made them more respected in North America. So he truly changed the game, changed the NHL, and rest in peace, Börje. So
came out earlier today, right? Thursday that happened, and so very sad news with his passing. And like you said, just really revolutionized the game for the European-born players and for defensemen in that era as well. So, our thoughts and condolences are going out to him and his family and everyone at this time. So, all right, well, let's move on to the next segment, and we are going to talk about the week that was. And so really only 2 games to discuss since the last time our show dropped, which was last Saturday, a 6-1 convincing victory in Columbus against the Blue Jackets, and then a 3-0 shutout against the Predators in Detroit. The Red Wings also faced the Coyotes last night on Friday. However, because we are filming on Thursday, we are only going to merely speculate about that game. So I want to get your thoughts. And Logan, I am coming over to you first. Give me your opinion on the Red Wings week that was.
Well, so my first thought is that Philip Hronek's mustache has some of that power from Frosty the Snowman's hat, where it just like, as soon as he figured it out, it just, something changed. He's been possessed by some weird magic, and he's been incredible. He has 5 goals in his last 5 games.
Yeah.
First defenseman on the Red Wings to do that since Lidstrom. And that was over a decade ago, at least the most recent time. I'm assuming Lidstrom probably did that multiple times. And then, as you guys were saying, Billy Husso has been really good. We were a little worried after he got blown out a few weeks back. It dropped his save percentage from absolutely insane to like really good. But since then he's been like really good still. Another shutout against the Predators there. And I just want to remind everyone again that Yzerman traded a 3rd-round pick for Billy Husso. Yes. He did sign him to a new contract, but that deal has aged quite well so far. We're still pretty early in the season, but that's aged quite well. Those first 2 games of the week, we haven't seen the third. He has 2 wins, 981 save percentage. I don't know. That's just great. And then my last thought is that Larkin is not slowing down, and he's going to be very expensive. So I kind of hope they sign him to an extension sooner than later so that he doesn't keep increasing his value, because that's just what he's doing week by week. He's on pace for 99 points and 39 goals. So if he gets even in that stratosphere, then watch out. That is an expensive player. He's going to be worth it. He's a great player. He's the leader of the team. But the sooner the better when it comes to making that deal a little more cost effective, I think. Those are my thoughts on this week.
I love those call outs, Logan. I think we all can agree that Hronek has been absolutely lights out for the Red Wings right now. I mean, we talked about, Zator being that offensive production. We talked about Ali Mata and Ben Sherratt coming over and adding a little bit of that offensive production, especially when Mata kind of started off the season on fire as well. And now here's Hronek, who is known for offensive production, really just drumming along and matching David Perron point for point right now. I think he's got one fewer goal, but one more assist in the same amount of games. So always fun to see. And then, yeah, we both mentioned it earlier, Ville Husso for a 3rd round pick has got to be the steal of the offseason right now. I mean, he has just been a different animal, and it's amazing what he's been able to do to spark life in this Detroit team this year. So he has been very exciting to watch and put up back-to-back gems this week. Like you said, 3 gems, actually 4 if you count the overtime when it wasn't really his fault. That was a bit of a turnover in his own, in the own zone that caused that to get scored on in overtime. So after getting blown out, really bounced back. And we mentioned this, I think it was 2-3 weeks ago on the show, that he really, it could falter, and Devin would be the first to tell you, it could be 1A this week and 1B the next week. But, it's he's really looking like he is that goaltender for the season right now. So again, great call outs there, Logan. Very exciting play to watch this week. So Matt, I want to get your thoughts on the week that was. Red Wings 2-0 over the past week since we last recorded. 3-0, hopefully. What are your thoughts on how the Wings responded to what was maybe not one of their better weeks a couple weeks ago?
Well, great response. I mean, Columbus isn't doing very well. I mean, they're injury riddled, but they took care of them, and that's what you got to do against teams like that. And Hronek, I echo the same. I said in my good. I mean, he's got 5 goals already. He's matched his total from last season already at this point.
Yeah.
And his career high is 9. I'm pretty sure he'll hit that unless he goes on a complete slump the rest of the way and doesn't score anymore. But he'll probably hit those 9, and he's already almost halfway to his point total from last season as well. So he's going to have a career season, I think. One thing that really stands out, though, is his plus minus. He's plus 10. Other seasons minus 29, minus 18, minus 38. So, having a plus 10 is pretty good. Especially, I mean, the team itself is probably better defensively, but seeing that plus minus, even though as much as people say that's not really big, I like seeing a plus in a defenseman's plus minus column. So, Hronek. And then Moritz Seider, 3 assists against Columbus. And, talking about his lack of production, having a 3-point game is pretty good. I mean, he was shut out against Nashville, but, seeing him get a 3-point game, and that should be good going forward too. And Larkin's been really good. And just talking about guys that centermen are going to get big pay raises, Horvat's going to be too in that same realm. He's on pace for 60 goals. So I don't know if he'll hit that, but there's going to be some big money coming around in the offseason for those 2 guys. But overall,
go ahead. Sorry.
No, overall, Red Wings, really good week. And hopefully it'll be, like I say, 3-0 by the time we're talking next week. That it was 3-0, and I don't know how many games they have next week, but hopefully it's another good week coming up.
Yeah, they have the Coyotes on Friday, then the Maple Leafs in Detroit on Monday, the Sabres on Wednesday, and then the Golden Knights are in town the following Saturday. So we'll have a good 3 games to talk about next week as well. We'll lump the Coyotes game in there, but we will talk about this upcoming homestand. The Predators was the first to 5 at home. So that will be coming up on the second half of this show. But I love your call out there, Matt. And, even 2 years ago when Hronek only had 2 goals, and both of those were 200-foot empty net goals. So it's great to see him on, production wise. He's got 6 power play points already, which, his best in the 56 game season was 11. He only had 7 last year in 78 games. So, I mean, he's just producing not only 5-on-5, but on the power play this season, which is great to see as well. So, fantastic call out there, Matt. All right. Well, I know you guys both celebrated a month ago, but since we don't have Devin today and it's just me, I'm gonna make you put on your good old American jean jackets and hats, and you get to pretend to be from under the border for a bit. So I want to get what you are most thankful for as Detroit Red Wings fans and contributors. And Logan, I'm going to start with you.
I'm most thankful that the Red Wings compete in games and they're not like circled on the calendar as an easy victory. They've been winning a lot of games that they probably haven't quite deserved, but they've had stellar goaltending and the power play. I guess those are also things I'm thankful for. Actually, like good goaltending and a power play that's league average. But just to be able to win games that maybe they're outmatched, or maybe it's a bit of an even fight there, and they're coming out with 2 points a lot of the time. They're kind of a nuisance. Even if they don't make the playoffs, they're gonna ruin some teams' nights, and that's kind of fun. I don't know. It's a lot more fun to watch than the last 5 years.
That's very true. They have been a lot more entertaining this season. So very, very easy to be thankful for that, as well as everything else that you just mentioned there, Logan. Matthew, what about you? What are you most thankful for as a Red Wings fan? I know you are a Canucks fan first and foremost, but we've adopted you here on this show and within this group. So what are you thankful for, besides the great Hockey Writers team at, or the Grind Line team at the Hockey Writers? So
it's Detroit. Red Wings are probably my second favorite team now. But I'm thankful for all the new additions. I mean, pick one that hasn't. I don't know if there's one that's been bad. I mean, Mata's fit in really well. Perron's generated points that he should. Kubalik's been a major surprise.
Yeah,
he keeps going. I mean, thought it was going to be a streak. Well, it seems to be a consistency now. I mean, he's putting up points pretty consistently now. Like I say, that's the biggest thing I'm thankful for this team. All the new additions that Yzerman brought in, they've all been good, not just good, but exceptional. I mean, Husso, we already talked about, Kubalik, Perron, Mata. I mean, Kopp's been good too. I mean, every guy he brought in has been a difference maker on this team, and that's a big reason why they are in a playoff position, I think. So that's the biggest thing everyone should be thankful for, is how good all the new guys have fit into this team.
Absolutely. And if I may echo off of both of you, to even go dive a little deeper into that, I'm extremely thankful that Steve Yzerman has come in and turned this organization around. Nothing bad spoken against Kenny Holland. I know there's plenty that we could at times, but he did a lot of good with this organization. But toward the end, especially as they got over that, the 26 years in the playoffs consecutively, and then started that rebuild, he didn't really seem to have an end goal in mind for that rebuild. It just kind of seemed to be going until it found its own way. And as Yzerman has come in, we always joke about the Yzer plan, but he really has seemed to have one in mind, right? Whether or not he shares his cards with anyone, because we all know he keeps them close to the chest, but he has been just on a mission to really change the culture back into what the Wings used to be when they were dominating and being in the playoff contention every year. And so that's what I'm most thankful for. It's just how that has been brought back. And like you said, Matt, the additions this offseason, like you said, Logan, the competitiveness in every game. The Wings are no longer a point night against the team they're playing against. Sure, it happens on occasion, but it's not every night. And that they're just so much more entertaining to watch. And I think that all comes back to, Yzerman just knowing what he wanted this team to be, knowing what this team could be, and then finding the right pieces to make it happen, and make it happen a lot faster than I think a lot of us were expecting. So that's what I'm thankful for. There's a lot of talent coming up in the pipelines, a lot of talent already here, which has been exciting. So this is going to be a fun team and organization for the next, 5, 10, hopefully 15 years down the road. So
yeah, they're not healthy either. I mean,
no.
right?
I think
So,
if they had Vrana, I mean, yeah, like they haven't had their full team, I think, since like game 1 or 2. And they beat, and when they beat the New Jersey Devils, one of the last teams to do that before the Maple Leafs did this week. So we joke about that, but it's kind of true. But yeah, so there's a lot to be thankful for. I think you both nailed it on the head as well. But let us know in the comments what you are thankful for as a Red Wing fan. And that's going to lead us into our first rush of the night. So remember, this is going to be a max of 2 sentences. And as everyone knows, and we talked about it extensively over the last few weeks, once you hit American Thanksgiving, all trends are cemented. Well, except for the 25% that we just learned do not really happen. So I want to get your thoughts. And Matt, I'm starting with you. What is one trend that will continue through the season for the Red Wings?
I'm going to say I said this, I think the last time we asked this question, I'm going to say the goaltending. And I think this isn't a trend that's going to die. I think he's settled in. He had that one bad game, but every goaltender has a bad game once in a while. But yeah, I think that trend, he's going to be a solid goaltender all season and be a big reason why, he's a big reason why Detroit is where they are in the Atlantic.
Absolutely. Logan, one trend that will continue through the season?
I'm going to say Larkin gets over a point per game on the season. He's looked real good, and the power play is so much better around him. So I think that'll help him out.
I like both of those. I could see both of those being trends that continue. Absolutely. I'm going to go out and say, I think the Red Wings are going to make the playoffs. They're going to stay in the playoff contention. And I think they're going to be part of that 75%. They just have looked like a different team this year. And like you said, just a minute ago, they're not even healthy yet.
Yeah.
All right, Logan, one trend that will not be sustained.
Moritz Seider being like the second best right-handed defenseman on the team. That is not going to last because Hronek has played more minutes than him a lot of the time the last month or so. That's not going to last.
Yeah, I agree. Matthew, one trend that will not be sustained.
Hronek's production so far. I don't think he's gonna he's on pace for a crazy 40, 50 points, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna hit that. But he's just on a big tear right now.
I'm gonna go a little bit more deeper dive than you again there, Matt. I'm gonna say Hronek's shooting percentage. He is shooting at 11.6% right now. His best before that was 7.2 in 2019, 2020, and he took 125 shots that season. So a lot of shots there, but he only had 9 goals in that season. So I don't think he's going to sustain being above a 10%. Hopefully he can stay in that 7 to 8% range, because then he'll at least be in the market to hit double digits. But yeah, I see that as being one that will not be sustained. All right. Well, we're going to take a breath and reset the show. This is the Grind Line. I am Kyle Knopp here with Matthew Zator and Logan Horn, and we are talking Red Wings hockey. Before we get back into it, this show is brought to you by Sports Fan Side Hustle, a new digital course that teaches passionate sports fans how to make lucrative side income off of their love of the game. All you need is the internet, a computer, a passion for sports, and a few hours a week. Go to sportsidehustle.com to get the free startup guide that will explain 4 keys to unlocking this income opportunity. Again, that is sportsidehustle.com, and get started today. All right, now that we have paid the bills, let's jump back into the show. We briefly mentioned the Red Wings are on the start of a 5-game homestand. As you are watching this, it is now 3 games because the Red Wings obviously won last night. We don't have to dive into that anymore because it's going to happen. So 3 games coming up this week against the Maple Leafs, the Sabres, and the Golden Knights. 3 teams that have been finding a lot of success so far. So, what are your expectations for those 3 games? Or if you want to talk about the Coyotes as well, the upcoming 4-game homestand as we record this. And Logan, let's come to you first. I think you've been quiet a little too much lately.
Oh, sorry. I'll keep talking. So it's a pretty even split in my mind between 2 really tough games and 2 at least relatively easy games. Not necessarily, they're not like you can't mark it down before the game starts, but you should win those games. The Golden Knights and the Maple Leafs are good. It's easy to think that the Leafs aren't that good because Leafs fans are screaming and crying, and it's like, what's going on? Is your team really bad? And then you look and they're second in the Atlantic and they're like 5th in the league, and you're like, oh, so you're still good. Also, that game is going to be super important for obviously just divisional games against a team that's above them in the standings right now. That's a really important game to stay in the playoff bubble, stay above ground there. The Golden Knights are tough. Mark Stone, Jack Eichel, they've been playing amazing this year. That'll be a tough test, but could be a fun game. And then when it comes to the Arizona game that already happened, that Detroit won, that's the kind of game that you feel like you kind of need to win. Arizona's been better than people expected so far this year. But I would expect them to kind of regress down to the bottom 4 or 5 in the league over the course of the season. The Sabres have been surprisingly bad. They've picked it up a little bit lately. I think they have a couple wins in the last week or so, but they had a pretty solid losing streak going there for a while. So hopefully the Red Wings can make them sad again. I don't know. I think my expectations are for the Red Wings to split these games, get 4 points maybe. If they want to really be near the top, really be competing for a playoff spot, not just a wild card spot, they need 6 points maybe. That's a tough ask, but it's possible. And it'd be awesome. And that'll give them a really good grip on that 3rd spot in the Atlantic, maybe even the 2nd, depending on how everything shakes out. They'll need that to stay. That Leafs game will be important for them to stay in the race there. But I'm expecting them to split, get 2 wins. I'm not saying those are against Arizona and Buffalo, but they're probably against Arizona and Buffalo. And then hopefully they can just push those top tier teams and at least make a game out of it.
Great point there, Logan. Absolutely. I agree with all of that. Matthew, before I jump in, I want to get your thoughts on this. What are your expectations for this upcoming 4-game homestand, 3-game plus last night? And what would constitute a success?
Yeah, well, like Logan said, there's some tough teams in there. The Golden Knights, the Canucks played them and they were winning, but then they came back in the 3rd, which is the recipe for the Canucks this season of losing. So, but the Golden Knights are a really good team. Like I say, Eichel's could become back to the Jack Eichel that was really good in Buffalo. He's maybe even better. So that's gonna be a tough game. The Sabres have just gone back to what they usually do. They usually get onto good starts and then they fall off, and that's what seems to be happening again this season. I think Detroit can beat them. Toronto's going to be a tough one. I mean, they're inconsistent. It seems like, teams can play them and they look really good, and then other times they look really bad. So maybe Detroit can get them on a really bad day that they're not doing very well. But yeah, I think the expectation, my expectation is that they're probably going to split too, but I want to say they're going to beat the Maple Leafs. So overall, I think they'll probably lose to the Golden Knights, but I'm going to say split, but outside chance that they're going to beat the Leafs.
No, I agree. I think it's like you both said, a very important week for the Red Wings coming up. We all know that they beat Arizona last night. No offense,
Yeah,
Pat,
of course.
but we just know it happened. So there's one.
I think we've manifested a Karel Vejmelka shutout tomorrow.
Shutout,
It's already happened.
Like a Lawson Krause 5-goal game or something.
That's right.
If that did happen, I apologize to everyone out there, and we will just stop talking about games in the future. So I mean, yes, actually, you are correct, Logan, when you said the Arizona Coyotes have been a lot better recently than people give them credit for. So they could be a tough team. Matt, you brought up a great point of Toronto being very streaky, and I think that happens more so when they're on the road as well. Granted, it's not a far trip to Detroit from Toronto, but I think it's enough that could get them a little lagged or whatnot. And if Detroit can jump on them early, I think that's going to be a good chance for a win. Buffalo Sabres, in my opinion, besides against the Boston Bruins, who are one of the better teams, one of the best teams in the NHL right now, and the Rangers, the last time the Red Wings got embarrassed was when they went to Buffalo and they got spanked 8-2, 8-3. It was 8-3. That was on Halloween night. And I think some of that kind of set in motion how well the Wings have been doing in November. And I think they've had this game circled on their calendar, like, hey, we get a chance to come back and really get back at them in our own building. So I think that's a game that if they come out inspired, that could be a huge game for them as well. And then, Vegas is the best, their second best team in the NHL right now, sandwiched between Boston and New Jersey. So that's going to be a tough game. And Logan Thompson has been playing lights out. I mean, he's got to be the front runner for the Calder and potentially the Vezina as well. So, I mean, that will be a tough game. So hopefully we'll get whoever their backup is now, who's that, Stolars or Pavel Francouz is Colorado, right? So, so whoever their backup is, hopefully the Wings get him next Saturday. But that's how well Thompson's been playing. It's Robin Leonard. No, I'm just kidding. He is out this season.
Aiden Hill? Is it Aiden Hill?
It might be Aiden Hill.
Yeah.
I don't have it up in front of me. So you can let me know, torch me in the comments that I don't know that. But yeah, so let us know at home what you think the Red Wings are going to do, minus the Arizona game that you already at home know about. But let us know what you think the Red Wings will do in this upcoming 3-game series. But like I said, I think there's a good potential for 4 points out of those 3 games. So a good potential for 6 points in this homestand, or actually 8 points because we had the other win already. So
it is Aiden Hill.
It is Aiden Hill.
Aiden Hill. He's 5-1 on the season, so he's not going to be.
So he's not any easier to get by. So maybe I take that. No. Thank you for looking that up as I rambled on there, Maddie. All right. Well, if you haven't heard, Detroit recently claimed Magnus Hellberg, a goaltender from Sweden, off of the waivers from Seattle, who had claimed Magnus Hellberg off the waivers from Ottawa, who had claimed Magnus Hellberg off the waivers from Seattle, who had signed as a free agent from Detroit this offseason, who had signed in April as a free agent from the KHL. So what does this mean for not only Magnus Hellberg riding this winged wheel carousel, but what does it mean for Ned or the goaltending future, for the Red Wings that they brought in Magnus Hellberg after having signed him late in April last season, losing him to free agency, and then bringing him back off of waivers. And Matt, I'm going to start with you on this one.
Yeah, he's a well-traveled guy, isn't he? Like he's all around the place. He probably hope that he can stay in one place for longer than a few weeks. Ottawa, he had a really good game. I think it's the only game he's played this season. He had a really good win in that one, and that was the only time he got, I believe, this season. So, but I don't know. The Red Wings, like we talked about Nedeljkovic, it's interesting why they brought Hellberg in. Ned's not injured, right? So,
Right.
And if they want him, and they're going to have to throw him down again, and they're going to have to clear waivers again. And it's like, or potentially not clear waivers and get picked up again by someone. Probably Seattle or Ottawa. So, I mean, it's like, because they wanted him in the first place before. So, I don't know. It's tough. Is Nedeljkovic on the trade block? I don't want to start any rumors, but it's really tough to see why they would bring in a goaltender like that. It seems to be an NHL caliber goaltender, and Husso's just seems to have run away with the number one job at this point. His numbers look great. He's started, you said, the last 4 games. Mm-hmm. It's tough to see what they're trying to do. I think, in my opinion, it's probably that Nedeljkovic could be dealt, because if it's not going to be a 1A, 1B, I don't think he's going to be happy being just a backup that plays occasionally. Yeah. So, and Nedeljkovic had some bad games this season too. I mean, Husso's been the better goaltender. Stats wise, he's got the better stats. It seems to be that Lalonde's got more confidence in him right now. And we'll see what happens. But at this point, I think he's on the trade block. He may be dealt before the deadline. Yeah,
it was a very interesting and strange occurrence, to see. And for those of you tracking at home, Hellberg has won his first 3 NHL games with 3 different teams and became the only NHL netminder to do that. So, the poor guy has just been all over the place and doesn't get a whole lot of opportunities. But when he does, he makes the most of it. So it'll be very interesting to see. And Logan, I'd love to get your thoughts first before I go any further with that. So, Logan, what are your thoughts on Magnus Hellberg being picked up off of waivers?
Well, first off, I'm just happy. I hope I get to see those pads again. He's collecting the best goaltending pads across the league, like they're Infinity Stones. He just has impeccable taste. But anyway, I really think the only way this makes sense is if they're planning on moving Nedeljkovic, which I've said before, I wouldn't be surprised by. He's on an expiring deal, and Husso has really proven himself as the starter. Or he just has a minor injury or like some personal matters that he might be either absent-minded or he just won't be with the team for a little. I really think that this pickup on waivers, it shows that Red Wings management almost like bookends who they care about when it comes to all their goalies.
Yeah,
they care a lot about Ville Husso, who's starting in the NHL and winning games for them. And then their ECHL starter, Sebastian Cossa. They care about him. They want him to stay there because if they needed another goalie in the NHL, they have 2 guys in the AHL right now that they could call up and have as the backup, and they'd be all right. But they want them to stay in the AHL so that Cossa stays in the ECHL. He keeps getting his games in the league that they want him in. And they still have an NHL quality goalie. There's no chance that if Hellberg or Ned, I don't see how Ned would be the one, but if either of them were to be assigned to the AHL, they'd be picked off waivers. Hellberg is not going to survive waivers. That has been, if we've learned anything this season, it's that NHL teams love taking Hellberg and then trying to put him in the AHL, and it never works. So
and every other GM's like, nah, it's not going to happen.
No, there's 3 or 4 guys that are like, no, actually, I want him now. But as we've said, like Husso started the last 4 games, and obviously he's kind of the starter now. He has the trust and he's winning games. But I wonder if maybe Ned just feels a little off or something. And that's also part of the reason that he hasn't got into any games since that game against the Kings on the 12th, November 12th. It's been a while. It's been like 2 weeks. So I really feel like it's got to be a minor, just nagging injury that Ned needs a little bit of time from, but they don't want to put him on the IR or anything. Or they're looking into trading him, but I would think that would have been announced by now already, just because that feels like the kind of thing that Yzerman would do, is like pick up someone and then trade the other one like all in like the same 20-minute period.
Yeah.
Because now everyone's speculating, and that's exactly the opposite of what he likes. So
yeah.
I don't think Ned's going to get traded right now. So I think that they probably need a stopgap goalie for a little bit here, and then they'll put him on waivers and see who wants him.
Logan, I love that analysis there, because I agree. I think there's probably something that we aren't seeing with Ned, whether he just needs a mental reset or, something to allow him to refine his game. And, maybe the Wings are coming in saying like, hey, we can bring Hellberg in for a week or two and let Ned really rest, just do a couple practice sessions, or not even, just take some time off. And then we can put him on waivers, knowing that if we lose him, okay, whatever. Because like you said, they have those goalies down the AHL. They don't need to move them back down there. But just knowing that like they could bring him in for a short term. If they lose him, no big deal. And then go from there. So I think there's definitely a little something to it. The other option is that they're just not getting a good enough bite on Ned right now, or that, there is speculation he's injured. So if they can kind of have that second goalie and shop Ned around while he, gets tweaked up without actually officially being injured, right? Then that could really help his trade stock as well. So a lot of speculation, that's kind of, the purpose of this segment is just kind of to speculate and give an idea, but certainly an interesting and intriguing storyline to keep your eye on. I mean, the poor guy, like we said, is his frequent flyer miles has been off the charts, and his pad setups is just, he's got those infinity stones, hanging out around his probably hotel room. I doubt he owns a house, and maybe he rents in sublets an apartment over the summer. He's probably got a storage unit somewhere, but that's about it. So, all right, well, that brings us to our final rush of the day. So let's have some fun with this one, boys. Matthew, who was the player of the game against Arizona last night?
Oh, I say Lucas Raymond.
Okay. Logan Horn.
Magnus Hellberg.
No,
I won't do that one. Actually, though, I'm going to do Bencherot. He's going to have like a double-digit hit night or something like that.
All right. I love it. Besides Karel Vejmelka, because we totally just jinxed. I'm going to say Mo Seider has another big game had another big game last night. So let's go Seider.
Nice.
All right, Logan, correctly pick how the Wings did in special teams against Arizona.
Like, do you want
3 for 4 on the PK, and give me, throw it out there. I want to know. Okay. I want you to correctly pick.
Okay, this game's gonna. I predict this game is gonna be a mess. The Red Wings are gonna be 2 for 7 on the power play.
Ooh.
And then they're gonna be 7 for 8 on the penalty kill. It's just gonna be a mess.
Absolutely a mess. All right. The referees are still in their turkey coma, apparently. They're just letting everything, not letting everything go. They're just calling everything. So
calling it all.
All right, Matt, over to you. How did the Wings do in special teams against Arizona last night?
Well, see, because I went second, I looked up stats. Not going to be, it's informed decision. So the Arizona Coyotes are 8th in both penalty kill and power play. So, which is surprising to me. So I'm going to say Detroit goes, I believe it's going to be a mess of a game too. So I'll go, there's going to be a lot of penalties. So we'll say Detroit scores in the power play. So 7. Yeah. I'll go a little lower though. I'll go like 5 for 6 on the penalty kill.
Detroit is or Arizona is?
So that's Detroit's penalty kill. We'll go 5 for 6. So Arizona will score on the power play because they have a good power play.
One power play goal. Yep.
And then I'll say Detroit doesn't have a bad penalty kill. So, on the power play, they'll go 1 for 6.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
There'll be a lot of penalties.
I'm going opposite. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of penalties. I'm going to go 1 for 2 for Detroit on the power play. I think I'm going to have two attempts, and Sider's going to get one of those power play goals. And I'll say they go 3 for 4 on the kill. All right. Well, if we still need to convince you after our first plug, sign up for the Morning Skate, the morning hockey newsletter delivered to your inbox every Monday through Friday for free. If you want to know which team to root for the World Cup based on your favorite NHL team, we will provide you with that and much more at the Morning Skate. So please sign up today.
It's Team Canada. Cheer for Team Canada.
Well, I hope you're all rooting for. Well, I hope you all rooted for the U.S. yesterday, right? Like, all right, this whole recording 2 days early thing is throwing me off. So let's wrap it up. That's it for this edition of the Grind Line. From all of us here at the Hockey Writers and our team here on the Grind, we will see you next week.